So this is the Environmental Advisory Council meeting for June 4th, 2024. I am Kate Schlott, chairperson present. We can go around and introduce the other council members.
Nick Tedrow, councilperson present.
Katie Alberti, councilperson present.
So on tonight's agenda, we are discussing the tree ordinance. Let's pull this up, my apologies. On tonight's agenda, we have continuing business of the board, the tree preservation law for chapter 248, and new business of the board will be the LWRP review for proposed zoning changes and the Indian Brook Gorge conservation overlay. So should we go through the tree ordinance first and then go into the LWRP review? Okay. So I had an opportunity to look through the revisions that you sent over the weekend. So far everything looks good. I don't know if anybody else might have some comments to add to that. I did notice, so are we going with 6-inch diameter breast height for all trees going forward? I noticed that the change, so I just wanted to make sure that was
so far, yes,
case.
that can obviously be changed. I talked to Valerie as well, and we kind of agreed on 6, considering a lot of similar standards are also 6 and not 10, specifically in the town of Ossining and Dobbs Ferry, which are very similar, landscapes. So considering that the village also has relatively smaller trees, there's not much old growth, as you know. We decided on 6, but that can be changed.
I just wanted to make sure 6 sounds good, because I knew we were doing 6 on the steep slopes over a certain percentage. So
Yeah.
I just noticed that it was a change between what we had before and now. So no, that to me that sounds good.
Yeah, I read through it as well. Everything that I could recall that we talked about seems consistent with the changes that at least this subgroup was talking about and wanted to see. I think so. I don't think I have any major comments. Semantics maybe on certain word choices, but I'm not going to burden everybody with debates about those. So no, I'm all good.
I don't have any comments.
Good.
Yeah, I think this has come together really nicely. It's been a long time in the making, and the last couple of months, I think the progress that Danielle, you've been able to help push forward with this has been really good.
So I guess in terms of next steps, unless Stuart, you had anything else.
No, Danielle, I think we'll just have to get it on a work session before the board. June is busy, so we're probably looking at a July work session. And we'll let you know when that will be. The board will discuss it then. If they're okay with that, the following week, we would have a resolution calling for a public hearing. And then once the public hearing is held, the board would then vote to adopt. So we're probably looking at sometime August, September for ultimate adoption. And then the state's been pretty quick about getting these laws filed. So hopefully we can do that pretty quickly. It doesn't look like it. The only question I have, Danielle, is whether or not there's any new procedures that the building department's going to have to follow. I don't think there were too many like that, more in terms of like they have to change their permit forms, but this gives us enough time for them to start to put that into play. But I'll talk to the village manager and Maddie when she gets back to get this on, hopefully for a July work session. And as I said, we're probably looking at, in terms of scheduling, a hearing sometime in August, with a vote by the board probably sometime in September.
Yeah, that sounds great. Also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, but thank you. I'm just going to thank you for all the work.
Oh, no, thank you guys. This has been very easy to pull together because of your input. But I was also going to recommend since it is busy in July for the board, would you guys be open to possibly sending this to the arborist to take a look? Or do you think that's not really necessary?
I believe if I recall from last meeting, I believe the arborist, we were gonna give the arborist an opportunity to look at it. Just to make sure everything is actually doable and that, they had their expertise in case we missed something, but, yeah, I'm open to having the arborist look at it if they have time.
You have all the time you need, because in other words, it's
Okay.
not scheduled for a work session, so to the extent that I guess the thing is this, it's more likely than not that someone on the board may say, well, did the arborist have a chance to look at it? So this way we can say, yes, we crossed that box off. So Danielle, I think that's fine. We can, get that to the village's arborist to give to look over for their view. I think that's absolutely fine.
Okay, great. And is that something you would like me to coordinate, or Kate? I don't know if you want to coordinate.
I can send it to them and CC you on it,
Okay.
just so that we have, everything covered on that.
Perfect.
Sounds great.
I just had a quick, just functional question, just because I have 2 dead trees on my front yard, and the activities permitted without a tree removal permit part, and the clause of, if a tree has been found to be dead, dying, you basically have to engage the village arborist to come out and affirm that and put it on a letterhead and then just send that in, and that's kind of that, and then you can.
Correct.
Yeah.
What we've had in the past is we've had just simply trees cut down. And,
Right.
This way, at least, if there's some document from the arborist indicating that tree, should come down, then everything's fine, no issues whatsoever. And, so I think that just protects from all sides.
Okay, great, cool. Now I know what to do here once this gets passed.
Got it.
Thanks.
Okay, are there any other issues with the tree ordinance that, anyone would like to bring up? Or does everything, to me, everything looks good at this point. I'm fine with sending everything over to the arborist, having the arborist take a look, and then we can, discuss this again once they've had an opportunity to do that. If needed, hopefully they won't, have too much to add, but if so, we can always, add as needed.
Does
That sounds
the, oh,
good.
sorry, Katie.
I was just gonna, sounds good to me.
I just from my understanding of how municipal processes work too, a little better, when this goes to either the work session or the public session for deliberation, does Kate attend that, as in case there's question of why did the EAC want to do this?
That was gonna be my follow-up question as well. I know, because at the time when we did the wetlands ordinance, I wasn't chairperson, so I don't know. I think that was the last major ordinance that we passed as, a council, or at least that we had worked directly with in helping to get pushed through. So if I need to be there, I'm
I
fine with
would, I
being
would,
there.
I would say it this way, Kate. It's probably a good idea, because the way that usually works is the local law gets presented. Generally, I say this is the local law, but if it's a local law that involves a particular agency, or that an agency was involved with putting together, like this one, to have you there will be great. Either Valerie or Danielle also you will attend, just so the board is aware of what was done. But I am sure that the board will want to hear from you folks. And it's better to hear it at the work session. I mean, obviously, all members are certainly should come to the public meeting if they want to, because they can have their chance to say something. But I do think that when we have the work session, to have the chair there, and any other member who wants to, obviously, is always a good idea, because it lets the board hear what, why you thought these changes should be made, and gives a further push to the board. So absolutely.
So whatever day it goes before the board, I will make sure that I'm there.
Yeah, we'll let you, what I'll do is I'll let you know what days they're thinking about. And if it doesn't meet with your schedule, we will change the date of the board. We'll move it to a different, Wednesday. So don't
Okay.
worry about it.
All right. So then in that case, we can move on to new business of the board. So we're going to be discussing the LWRP review for the proposed zoning changes and the Indian Brook Gorge Conservation Overlay. So I had an opportunity to look through the documents that you sent. And yeah, here it is. What is this? The Indian Brook Croton Gorge Watershed Conservation Action Plan. That was pretty good. That was a good, nice report. I just wanted to put that out there.
That I haven't had a chance to look that one over yet.
I think also part of it is like in having these conversations about the drinking water protection plan over the last 2 years,
Right.
seeing this report with that conversation being had has actually been really helpful. So to see this has been like I've been able to put more of like a visual in my mind for things that have been discussed over the last couple of years. So I thank you for sending this.
Awesome.
So for the overlay district, what are there major changes being proposed, or is this a new local law that's coming into place, or is this a revision or to an old law or amendment, or is this a new one completely?
It is a new local law, basically outlining new guidelines and regulations for the new overlay district. So it's not anything major, I don't think, but it is additional regulations that will ultimately aid in protecting natural resources with the Croton River and Indian Brook Reservoir in mind, and as well as wetlands and groundwater drinking sources. So it's nothing, I don't think, too hefty in terms of new regulations, but it's I think our conversation this evening in terms of LWRP will be pretty simple, because I feel like every regulation that they are proposing is for the environment, for additional environmental regulation. So
I'm just going to pull up the LWRP work list so that we can go through that. Forgive me if you hear my son in the background.
my dogs have been
Okay.
losing their mind all night, so.
Okay, so like similarly what we did with previous amendments, we're going to go through the LWRP list and figure out where we are in where we're consistent and where we're not consistent with the changes. Okay. Let's see.
The
I
water-
think Dana
wa-
might be
water
hopping
news.
on.
Who's hopping on?
I said I think Dana might be hopping on. Oh, sorry. She's having issues with the link, so I'm sending her the link.
Interesting timing with the news about the grant money too for the Indian Waterbrook treatment plant. Related, I'm sure.
See if that works for her. Since she's trying to get on, I figured let's give her a minute, just in case.
That's given me time to catch up and skim through a little bit more on stuff that happens.
So I was told that we're going to be hosting the Zoom link from now on. I'm gonna try to set it up so it's one link reoccurring, I guess how you guys had it before, and then I'll give that to Jamie for next time so it's on the agenda.
Okay. I knew something was wrong when 5 minutes were in, and I'm like, "There's no way I'm the guy who's here on time or early. I'm something's wrong with me for sure. It's always me."
There she is.
Hi, I couldn't find the link. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We had some link confusion tonight.
Ago. I will not find it. It's not gonna happen. But I never got it. It's funny because usually I get an email saying here's the link for the EAC mail. I never got anything. So
That's my bad, Dana. I did not copy you on the email. We're going to be hosting the link from now on
okay.
from our Zoom account. So I'm going to set that up and get it on the agenda for next
Okay.
time.
We decided to start over on the tree ordinance, so that's all you missed.
You're starting over on the tree.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm being funny.
Excuse me? No. Okay. Just don't do that. Okay.
So I have a question, looking at the map here for the Indian Brook Croton Gorge WPOD. It's interesting because like as I'm looking at the LWRP policy list, technically a lot of this falls outside of the village boundaries. So this is yeah. I guess in the terms of like the technicalities of being within the village boundaries, there are some things that we will and will not be consistent with, but it's just interesting to see where the boundaries are hitting in terms of kind of how we end up approaching this.
Right. Yeah. It's really, I guess the majority of it is outside of the village boundary. So in terms of LWRP consistency for the EAC, we are only reviewing that which is in the village boundary and nothing else.
Okay. So there's an area here that I'm looking at on the map, where the Metro North line cuts right out of the village and where the boundary is that goes into the Croton, so where the Croton River leads out to Croton Gorge over here into the river.
Mm-hmm.
A screen share?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at it on my computer. I can,
I mean, I think I know what you're talking about because I'm looking at it too, but
you're right. Yeah, I should share that. Here, let me see. Can you see my screen now?
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
so I'm looking at this area right here. Specifically, this is where I'm talking about. So I was just curious about, technically it is, I guess, outside of our boundaries, but because it is so directly connected to it, is there anything that you think we should consider with that particular portion as we're going through the policy list? If that makes sense as a question.
I might benefit from just making sure I'm understanding our boundaries because I kind of see that. I interpret it as like we're extending all the way along the track lines up a little bit, but maybe that's not correct. At the tip of the toe or I don't know what you call this, the end of the straw. Now I see the dotted line going if I'm interpreting this map correctly, but I'm a little unclear barely. I don't know if anyone knows offhand for the Metro North line where we end and start. Doesn't sound like
I'm gonna zoom in.
not that we're going to be doing anything on the Metro North line, but
No, there's just a few policies on the list. I just want to make sure that as we answer them, it's not many just because it's along the waterfront within certain districts. I just want to make sure that we're defining the borders correctly and that we approach that correctly. But as I zoom in, it does look like the boundary ends right in this area. If that you can see that.
well,
So-
that's the parcel lines for in the study area, the solid, right? And the broken
Oh.
lines are the municipal boundaries. So the solid lines are what they studied
Okay.
in the parcels in the study when they did this. But yeah, I
Let me
think our
see.
municipal boundaries
yeah.
are these dotted lines that extend around. So
all of this.
Yeah, that's the
Here
way
to
I'm
here?
looking at this map. Yeah. And then, yeah, up and around, obviously,
Okay,
short of St. Augustine's. Is that right?
okay,
Yeah, so the boundary goes straight across the Ossining Middle School and then up. And then below 9A. And then you're
Mhm.
right, it goes down and then around that, I guess, tail, you would call it. And then back down.
okay. Okay. Alright, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. Okay, I just wanted to make sure on that. All right. All right. So should we just go through the checklist as we've done in previous? Okay.
Sure.
So I know for number one, restore, revitalize, and redevelop deteriorated underused waterfront areas. So in this case, like, we're not doing that. This is pretty much just going over stuff that's within the watershed. So this is not part of that. So in this case, so in this case, we would say no, if I'm not, or
Either no or
I
not
always get
applicable.
not, I think this isn't not applicable.
Not applicable, yeah.
I hate to ask, but do you want to share the checklist? while
Oh,
you're here?
no, you're right,
Did
you're
you stop
right.
sharing? Sorry, I
You're
didn't
right.
ask.
You're absolutely right. I should do that. Okay. Put this over here. Oh, I can't. All right. But you can see my screen for the list, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay. All right. So we were saying that number one, you can just say is not applicable. Redeveloping the Sing Sing prison, this is not applicable for us either. The district does not go into the Crescent. So not applicable. Just want to verify it doesn't touch Snowden. It doesn't touch Snowden in any way that I can see.
No.
So. Oh. So I'm just gonna fill in not applicable, and what I'll do is I'll save this file when we're done, and I'll forward it to you, to everybody, and you, Danielle, so that we have it.
Sounds good.
Improving the Old Croton Aqueduct, not applicable. What is it? So facilitate the siting of water dependent uses and facilities on or adjacent to coastal waters. This would be a not applicable if I'm not mistaken. This isn't the same thing as what we're trying to do with the ordinance, is it?
It doesn't seem that way to me, no.
I agree.
Okay, so oh, that's not applicable for us anyway. Okay, so we're not encouraging development. We're not that, okay. Okay, significant coastal fish and wildlife, wildlife habitats. I think this is a situation where this is applicable for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this particular overlay is specifically to address these issues.
7A especially, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not within the Crowbucky area. So should I say in this case not applicable? If need be, we could change that, or
Could you, if you stretch it, not even very much, to say that having the adjacent land protected would make it a yes, because it would help protect, by having adjacent land protected, or help protect Crowbucky. That's just a thought. I don't know if you guys agree.
It does say locally important coastal wildlife, so I don't
Yeah.
know if you want to interpret it that way, like Katie said.
Yeah, I'm sure, certainly the study area, it's right up against it.
Right. So pollution in that area would probably affect Krawbucky.
Okay.
I think 8 would be a yes.
Expand recreational use of fish and wildlife resources. I would say that that's not applicable.
Mhm.
We're not developing any commercial fish, sorry. These are not applicable to us. 11, 12, and 13 are not applicable to us. Prevent erosion from filled-in land west of the tracks, that is not applicable to us. This is, number 14 is not applicable. We're not
Just
mining, or is it? Mhm.
Just a thought, though, the erosion protection would probably be integral to, I've got to confess, I haven't read the overlay district regs very carefully, but I would think that erosion protection, no measurable increase in erosion or flooding would be kind of connected to that. They kind of go together. I would feel okay with the yes.
There is
For-
wording in the local law for additional regulations for erosion control. So I don't take that as you will. But I would say that considering these additional regulations on construction and erosion control, that those would be applicable.
So I'll put that as a yes. And as we go through these, we can go into more detail in the write-up that we write in the letter and explain. Just in case it's not clear, we can explain that in more detail with them too. So public funds shall only be used for erosion protection where necessary. Is this something that public funds are specifically for the ordinance? I'm thinking you're not involved in this. I'm not 100% sure.
Kate, it's really not public funds we're talking about. It's really
Yeah.
development within the area.
Okay. All right. Oh,
Unless it's public development, I guess, right? But
well, that area, a lot of it's residential.
Mhm.
Whenever possible, use non-structural measures to minimize damage to natural resources and property from flooding and erosion. I would say that this is a yes.
Yeah.
Safeguard the vital economic, social, and environmental interests of the state and its citizens. I would say yes.
Mhm.
Protect, maintain, and increase the levels and types of access to public water-related recreational resources and facilities. I guess, yes, but this isn't really addressing that. But it would protect recreational resources, actually. I would be
Okay.
comfortable saying yes for number 19. I don't know if how Katie or Nick might. Do you think that that would be acceptable
that-
for?
It's certainly not the intent, but it certainly wouldn't work against it.
Mhm.
I think. What do you think, Nick?
yeah, I mean, kind of what we said from the outset, this whole law is like structured around being environmentally protected. So, most of these things I'd be fine with a yes or an NA. I mean, you could probably make an argument for yes on a lot of things we're even saying NA on. So,
Okay.
Let me just poke at this a little bit. As I said, I was in a fog and didn't read it. Those of you who know it a bit better, does it discourage public access or recreational use of the water resources, or does it?
It's not related really to that, Katie.
Yeah.
That's not what the purpose of this is. More the development that's there. It really is not related to public access. Because it's recognized. The other thing to recognize, most of the properties that are covered by this overlay district are really within Cortland and areas that are much bigger. The village's role in this in terms of coverage is minimal. And for the village, it's almost all residential areas. And,
So
you know,
perhaps
so-
this, I'm sorry. Excuse
no,
me,
no, I'm
Mr.
just saying, for, if you're looking at it just from the parcels that are within the village, it really doesn't relate to public access to water, because it's really just, you know, these residential properties. But if you want to keep it as a yes, it's fine. I'm just pointing out that the way that the overlay is, it really doesn't relate to that as much as some of the other yes answers that you have.
Would not applicable be more in line with what it actually is?
Look, if I were doing it, I would say NA, but you know, I think that a yes is also fine. I don't think it really, you know, has an impact either way. But again, it's really in terms of where it is within the village. If you were in, you know, Cortland or one of the other towns that are covered by this, that may be a different answer. But you got to look at it in terms of how it's going to impact the village. And for the village's purpose, you know, it's.
Doesn't seem like there's much
This way-
recreational stuff covered in our area.
Not
As far as
really,
I know that.
not in terms of, this, this overlay district, no.
So maybe not applicable?
Yeah. That would be my thought.
Yeah, like, because as I look at a lot of this, again, because of where the boundaries are and like knowing specifically where we're actually looking at within the village, you know, it's that kind of like, it's right next to it, so you want to say it is, but it really isn't
Right.
within our area. So I get where both sides, how that can, you can argue it either way.
Yeah, I'm not sure unless there's like recreation stuff going on in that little area I'm not really aware of or something. But
I mean, as far as I know, like some people sometimes go like kayaking in the area, but I think it's not in that specific location. Access to existing public water related recreation. So this is not I
that's
would say not
wetlands.
applicable.
Well, I guess they reference Krabucky again, but
Well, yeah, it's the access won't change. So
Right,
this
yeah.
isn't, yeah. Number 19B is also not applicable. It's not applicable for 19C either. Not applicable, I would say, for 19D.
agreed.
Not applicable for 19E.
Yes, agreed.
Not applicable to number 20 or 20A. And not applicable facility not to number 21. We're not looking at water enhanced recreation with this. Number 22. I would say this is not applicable as well. Number 22A is not applicable. 23 is not applicable. 24 is also not applicable in general. Protect, restore, and enhance natural man-made resources, which are not identified as being part of the statewide significance, but which contribute to the overall scenic quality of the coastal area. I don't think it's directly applicable, but I think I would be comfortable putting yes for that.
It's compatible with it.
Yeah, I think it's directly relevant.
Put it that way. I like that. Protect and enhance views from Route 9 and Revolutionary Road, that is not applicable.
Which are not identified.
25B is also not applicable. 26 is not applicable to us. 27, decisions of the siting and construction of major energy facilities. That is not happening there. Municipal, industrial, and commercial discharge of pollutants, including not limited. So this is a situation where I'd say number 30 absolutely is applicable.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And 31. Because we are
Mhm.
dealing with maintaining water quality standards. So I'd say 31 is also applicable. We know 32 is not overall. Yes, so 33,
Yes.
best management, yes, for sure. I would say 34 is also yes.
Yeah.
We are not dealing with expanding marinas, so I'm gonna say that's not applicable. Dredging and dredge spoils disposal. This is something that is, I would say, yes, we're consistent in that it is addressing those specific things. I would say yes for this
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Activities related to the shipment and storage of petroleum, other hazardous materials. Yes.
Mhm.
Because we're trying to control for that. Best management practices will be utilized, yes, to minimize non-point discharge of excess nutrients.
Yay,
Quality,
yes.
yes, quality and quantity of surface water and groundwater supply shall be conserved and protected. Absolutely, that's a yes. Yes, transport, storage, treatment, and disposal, solid waste will be conducted in such a manner to protect groundwater and surface water. Absolutely. Affluent discharge from major stream electric generating industrial facilities into coastal waters will not be unduly injurious to fish. I would say yes. Land use development in coastal areas will not cause national or state air quality standards to be violated. I would say yes to that one. Coastal management will be considered if the state reclassifies land use pursuant. So this one, so reclassifies land use areas pursuant to the prevention of significant deterioration regulations of Federal Clean Air Act. I would say yes. Or is that something that is not? No, I would say yes to that one.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we're considering our land use management issues within this ordinance. So I think that's something that can be connected through coastal management policies if that comes up.
Mhm.
Land use or development in coastal areas must not cause the generation of significant amounts of acid rain. That's not something that's happening specifically with this, but I would still say yes, that we are consistent with that. And absolutely preserve and protect tidal freshwater wetlands and preserve the benefits derived from these areas. Yes. That's everything on the checklist. I'm gonna save this and forward this to you, Danielle. Oh, yep. Let me do that. Stop sharing. Okay. All right, let me save this and I will send an email to everyone with this. EDC documents, Indian book. All right. All right, I'm gonna get an email for this. Um, and I'll make sure I have everybody on this as well. Search, Maddie, and Dana. Does anybody have any other comments on this in the meantime while I send this email out?
I mean, I need to do and get all the way through reviewing all the items provided in the board and context of this, so I'll do that and then I'll feel like we've made a grievous mistake.
So what I'm gonna do in the meantime, let me just pull this up. Sorry. All right, here, drop that in here. All right, it's coming out now. All right, it should be coming your way now. So I'm sending you the list now so that we have what we just went through. I'll write up a letter that goes through all of the specific policies where we said consistent. And if there are any particular ones, Nick or Katie, that you think we should flag for explanation, just let me know. But if not, I'm gonna write up a letter so that we can get that out within the next week or two at most and move that forward.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. And I got Maddie's out of office reply. Ah. All right. I don't have any other comments to make at this time about the LWRP list for this for the ordinance. Does anybody else have any things they want to bring up or concerns about things that we've been doing that you want to address at this time, or comments?
I don't know if we want to cover anything we've discussed, in previous sessions about, I don't know, we've been talking about natural resources inventory, invasive species, seasons, like, I don't know.
I still have to send the significant tree list. I know that I have to follow up with that. I started it, kind of dropped the ball on that this past month. So Nick, I will follow up from my email to you 3 weeks ago about that as well. The natural resource inventory, a lot of people are out on vacation right now, so trying to get everybody that I need to talk to in the same room has been a little difficult, but yeah, that's going to be moving forward soon, hopefully. I did see that there were some grants that came out recently that we can apply for, and I did forward some information to Maddie about a week or two ago, but I know it's been a very hectic month for her. So those are things that I'll follow up on with her once she gets back from vacation. So is that it for tonight? Danielle, is there anything else that we need to discuss for either of the ordinances?
No, I think we're all good. I just want to say that I think from my conversation with Maddie, we agreed that everything will be sent out for meetings from our office, so either from me or Valerie, but most likely me. And then we'll be hosting the Zooms, like I said before, and I'll get in touch with Jamie to get the right link on the agenda. And then I will also be away next month, so if you guys do meet, I will not be here, but I will still send things out beforehand. So
Okay, wonderful. Okay, sounds good. So yeah, then I will write up the policy checklist for the LWRP, get that out to you, and follow up with Maddie about the natural resource inventory, and email the arborist first thing in the morning so that we can get things moving forward with that.
sounds great.
All right,
Wonderful.
wonderful. Right, all right. So our meeting for the Environmental Advisory Council for June 4th, 2024 is adjourned. I will see everybody in July.